Hey everybody, welcome back to our next video, video number 6 in our series for our custom Conan map. And in our last video, I went 45 minutes or 43 minutes, and sadly, I feel like a bonehead, but I repeated a new mistake, even though I've been doing this for a long time. Sadly, what I didn't realize is on the placing of our blocking volumes. If you recall, I was teaching the blocking volumes how we could create a wall to keep our players from falling off the world. Well, sadly, what I forgot to do is make sure that our blocking volume was on our persistent level. So that's the reason why our collisions weren't working. And I'm used to Unreal 2 just plopping down a volume and blocking. However, it's like, what in the heck's going on? I was a little confused, so I do apologize. It's quite embarrassing, actually. But that's what happened. So let's go ahead and we're going to finish where we kind of left off. And I'll try to keep this video a little short. So I'm sorry about that. And let me go ahead and let me double check my notes here to make sure. And we look good there. All right, 1 second. And let me transition my display over. And here we go. All right, so we're here. All right, back in the world. So now, when I was trying to show you what we're doing with these collision blockers, play from here. I will show you one more time, make sure I get my ass figured out here. Sadly, just trying to keep track of everything, I completely forgot my job, and here we go. So we're being blocked. We can't fall off the world. So as we hit it, bam. Now the only bad thing is we can actually climb the blocker, and we're going to take and cover that and keep that from happening so players can't actually climb up on those and over. And also we're going to cover a few little tools inside the editor as well. So let me go ahead and quickly, what we're going to do is I'm going to highlight this blocker. Now, as you notice, as I told you in the last video, you can take your shift key, right, and hold down your shift key, left shift key, or right, and you can slowly control the movement of these volumes so it's not so fast, okay? Now, I got mine set to 10 here, 10 width, so that's the 10 width. The length is 4050, and the height is 1000, okay? Now, that's covering to our other tiles over here. Okay, and what you can do also is overlap these that way that they're blocking your players in. All right, so they can't fall off the world. Now, the other part of this, the other caveat is, okay, they can climb out. Okay, and what I want to do is quickly show you the volume again where we get it, so you don't forget. When we go to Windows, Modes, we go up here, we go to Volumes, we take the blocking volume, we plug it down here, place it in the world, and we start sizing it up. Okay, it's supposed to be set to invisible wall. Can the character step up on? It's supposed to say no, because I actually went to the Conan sandbox just to double check to make sure I didn't do anything wrong. And according to this block right here, that's theirs, that I pasted over here, it says invisible wall, no, generate overlaps. And it actually blocks. So if I hit play from here with our barrels next to it, that way I can show you guys this. I do apologize. So I'm going to try to keep this video short to make up for the 15 minutes I went over in the last one. Bam, we're blocked, okay? All right, so now, how do we keep our players from climbing up those and escaping our world? Okay, well, that's what we're going to do now. So what we do is we go back here up to our placeable actors. We place a blocking volume. So what we're going to do is we're going to type blocking, and Funcom has created a climb blocking volume blocker. Okay, now this is going to help us keep players from climbing out of dungeons. It's going to also help us keep them from climbing up areas we don't want them to climb up. You can set up rocks that they can't climb up with this blocker. The reason being is because you might want to keep them in a certain way or lead them to a certain point in a dungeon. You don't want them to escape, okay? So now, with this being said, what we need to do is we need to set up our box extents. So on this blocking volume blueprint, okay, which is it's a blueprint that Funcom designed, we need to set the sizes. But we don't use the scale here. Do not touch the transform scale. We need to use the box extents, the default here. All right. So on X, I'm going to go ahead and give it 5,000 to start with. And that just shows you how long that is in 5,000. Okay. So we really have to go some distances. So you can actually drag your mouse inside the box and pull it and extend it. So I'm going to go ahead and speed up our camera. And I'm going to show you how long and how far we can do the extent. Now the extents are pretty quick on these, so you just got to kind of control the numbers. Try to center it, work it to where you need it. And we kind of go like this. Now that right there, it can overlap. It doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it kind of overlapping on the edges for now. Actually, let's go ahead and see if I can just shorten it a little bit more. So I'm just going to creep it in. And it's creeped in too much. All right, that works pretty good for me right there, I think. Excellent. Okay, so now what we need to do is go Y. We'll just leave Y alone because we don't need it to be that wide. Let's go ahead and do the Z, the Z, as some people call it, Z. Do your Z. Oh, that's way up there. We don't need it that big. We just need it enough to where the players can't climb our wall from the base. So we can just kind of bring it down here. And also it'll save on memory and stuff and information, so we don't have to have a large climbing blocker. Okay. Now our climbing blocker is set for, let's see, 1,000 wide. So what we can do is kind of bring this over, and what we want it to do is we want to overlap that blocker there. Okay. So now if we come down here, let me slow my camera down, so I'm going to go to Mach 10. And I'm going to bring a barrel over here so that way I know where to hit play at, and I know where our blocking volume is and our blocker is, our climbing blocker I should say. So both of them should be working hand in hand here. So, right, so I'm going to hit play from here. And as we walk forward, we should hit our blocker, but also we should hit the climbing blocker as well. And what the climbing blocker is going to do, so if we hit our blocker, okay, now we try to climb, now we can't climb the volume anymore. So now we can't climb this. No matter what we try to do, you are screwed, you cannot climb it. Okay, screwed, blued, and tattooed. Alright, so now, shift escape. Alright, so that's what we have to do. So, like I said, oh, what's really sad, like I said, make sure, please do not pull a noob mistake like myself. After 7 years of modding, Snow Hunter pulls a noob. So now what you need to do is just make sure, like I said, it's very important where you're placing things. Make sure you're placing them in your persistent level that are required in the persistent level. The example, the building blockers, they need to be in the persistent level for the edge of the map. You can place them on other levels too, but what happened was because they weren't streaming in. So when I thought I was hitting the blocker wasn't there because it was streaming in on another level. And of course it's not going to stream in because I'm not over there on that side of the level, so it's not going to appear. Okay, so just to remind you, look out for those small things. It is a bit overwhelming sometimes when you got all this stuff going on, and me trying to teach the videos and trying to remember steps and stuff. Sometimes I overlook it, and that one I did. I overlooked it. I made a boo-boo. Hey, but I remembered. I was like, oh, I was like, dang it, I didn't put it in the persistent level. It's like after I record the video and finished and hit stop, it dawned on me what I did wrong. So, all right, let's go ahead and go back to the desktop, but I just wanted to face the music and say sorry, guys. All right, okay, here we go. So let's go ahead and go back into our desktop, and let's continue on. So now, this might be overwhelming, kind of hard when I'm showing you like, okay, you place it here, and you're trying to get it accurate, hold down the shift key, and blah, 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 right? Well, there's a good way to do this too. So what we want to do is we want to go up here to the left-hand side in our editor and go to perspective. Let's go ahead and hit top down. Now, if we hit top down and we zoom out, what you're going to see is this big purple ring is the world globe. Okay, that's our sky sphere. Okay, now and I got the blocker highlighted right now. So if we zoom in, now you can see the different tiles of the world. So we only got those 4 map tiles loaded in, remember? So we only did 4 of them. So what I did is I hit the perspective so we can actually see a grid. And now what we can do is we can kind of adjust things and go, hey, okay, that's where the blocker is hanging. Okay, and this gives us a perspective from the top, like, okay, yep, I'm overlapping, that's good. Okay, my build blocker, let's see, yep, it's overlapping, okay. So you can kind of line things up from this top down, but the only bad part is when you zoom in, you're not going to be able to see certain parts, so you might have to kind of edge it from the side and kind of go, okay, right here, line it up, all right, okay, I got it there, right? Okay, so now you can also look at it from like the left side. So if we look at it from the left side, be like, okay, where are we at on the left side? Well, shoot, that's kind of hard. I don't know exactly what we're looking at from the left side. So you just have to figure out what, from the front, what works for you as far as trying to get in here and move things and shift things around. Obviously, this is a blocking volume right here. Okay, and then our world map tile is right here. So the blocking volume is just hanging below where the actual height map tile is in the engine. Okay, so this is another perspective. All right, so top down works good to help you line things up. And then also when it comes down to the front usually is good for when you're starting to try to line up water. Like this is our safety net right here. Okay, so our safety net volume is right there. All right, so just to give you that heads up, and then our climbing blocker, sorry, is right there. So you can actually highlight these things over here to see where they're at. Okay, so just to give you that idea and let you know you can do that with those tools there. All right, now we're at 12 minutes on this video, and I want to make sure I can cover some more things here. So hopefully that solves that problem and explains to you why it's very important to make sure Windows levels that your persistent level for certain things that have to continuously persist and not stream in go on to the persistent level. So they're always persisting. Now, level streaming, like I said, I just proved to you in theory and showed you and in practicality that if you have your blocking volume on the wrong level, it's streaming in somewhere else, but you're not there to stream it in, so it's not going to do its job. Okay. All right, so now I got these barrels here. I'm going to delete this blocker real quick. And now I have these barrels, and I'm on camps 1A. And let's go view options, current level only. So notice I got these 7 barrels, right? Now, the problem is when you're placing all these objects in the world, right? You got to make sure that you have some sort of organization, that you can keep track of where you're placing things or putting things. And it can get overwhelming because now you're like, well, shoot, I got stuff everywhere. So the best way to do this too, so you can categorize things, or say something breaks or Funcom changes something, you need to be able to go find it quicker and not be pulling your hair out. So the best thing to do for this is we're on camps 1A, okay, and I got my 7 barrels, right? So I'm going to go ahead and right click, create a folder, all right. Now I got to hit turn off the only current level because our folder is going to go over here no matter what. It's weird. All right, and what we're going to do is we're going to call this actually, we're not even calling it NPC. What we're going to do is call this barrels. Okay, and what this will do is categorize our barrels for us. So what we can do is then take these barrels, right, and I'm going to highlight that barrel. Now I'm flying around just highlighting them because I can like this. You can do it like this, right? Or you can go up here into your world outliner, then click them individually. Then what we do is we right click, and then what we can do is go move to, and then let's find that new folder we built, which was barrels, right? So we can do a search and go BAR. No, dang it, where's our new barrels? Where's our barrel? Let's do that again. I know I made a folder called barrels. Oh, you know what? Let's rename it. It didn't like barrels. BARRELS, barrels. Okay, there it went. Okay, so now that's really strange. Sometimes the editor does weird things. So we got our barrels there. So let's type in our world outliner in our search, BAR, barrels. Okay, so now we can highlight these barrels. And what we can do is then take the left mouse button and drag them and drop them into that folder. Now notice how we bring that folder down? we can now organize it so we can find our barrels. Okay. And this is one way too. Say you have to move some stuff and it's requiring a lot, or a dungeon. So all you gotta do is go here to the folder, go right click, and you can go select all descendants. It instantly selects everything that's in that folder for you. Okay. So there you have it. And that way we can either delete them, we can search. Say barrel 5 in our server log is saying barrel 5 is doing something stupid. All right, so we have to search for barrel 5. Well, we know we put our barrels in a folder, so now we just got to search for barrel 5 and go, hey, barrel 5. And barrel 5 might be hanging down below the world or something, screwed up, whatever the case may be. But chances are it's a static mesh. It's not going to show up in the log, but it might show up as a null static mesh or something like that happens on a blueprint. So right now, that is one way you can organize your stuff. Now also, another nice little feature is, okay, say we need to group some stuff together and we need to move it together. What you can do, instead of single-handedly moving all these, say you want to move these barrels in the same spot, you don't want to sit here and have to do it this way. What you can do is you can highlight both of these barrels, hit Control G. Now they're instantaneously grouped together. Okay. Now here's the interesting caveat here. So if we go View in Current Level Only, now what I want you to look at is in your World Outliner, you're going to see our level bounds, of course, right? But also now you see a group actor. Oh, what's this? The group actor is this group of barrels. Okay, so now it lost its name, barrels, but it's a group actor, so they're grouped together. So it's two actors grouped together. All right, but they also fall under the barrels, and the group actor is going to highlight, but those two barrels are also going to be highlighted together as being in the group. Okay, that way you know. All right, excuse me one second. Let me get a drink here. Okay, so that's how you can organize your world. Now, to break these actors apart, Shift G and click off. Now they're broke apart. If we go back to our folder, there's no group actor, and they're back to normal. Okay, so that's what you can do to help group, certain things and organize yourself on your map. And I recommend doing that because, believe it or not, you might find that you're kind of confused, lost, or you need to move some stuff or change some things. It's quickly easy to do that way and find them in a folder and be done. Okay. All right. So moving on. Let me see. So we got the build blockers covered. All right. I'm trying to think what else we could cover. Where are we at? We're at 18 minutes and 50 seconds. I went 15 minutes over. So let's go ahead and we're going to stop this video here at 20 minutes just to keep this one a shorty. But hopefully, like I said, this can become overwhelming. And as I said, don't worry about it. You'll pick it up. And like I said, I'm getting overwhelmed a little bit because I'm trying to do a tutorial at the same time and trying to remember certain things. And I completely forgot, hey, make sure that the persistent level is selected for like certain things, like the outside map world, that has to be on the persistent level, those blockers. That way they're always loaded in, so you don't have to wait for the height map to stream in and then load up the blocker, because your people are going to fall off the world. Like I just showed you earlier on the last video, I was falling off the world and I couldn't figure out why. I'm like thinking, what the heck's wrong? It was because I had them on the wrong level. It was actually on 0.7 and it should have been on the persistent. I didn't realize I actually had 0.7 selected and I was placing those actors on 0.7. So I had to move them and correct myself. So I did punish myself. So I hang my head in shame. It happens to the best of us. You could be tired. I mean, I've found myself doing it on my custom map in the Empire Stygia. Sometimes you just do that. You get into the mode, you're so focused, and you're like, you finish, you build this beautiful palace, and you're like, yeah, it looks so beautiful. And then you go in to hit play. Where the hell is it? And then the epiphany and then the oh fuck shit damn rides through your mind, and you're like, aha, you forgot to put it on the actual right level. It's on level 7.1 when it should have been on 7.0. So now you have to, oh, did you put them in those folders I told you to organize? Oh crap. Now you can't select them all, so now you gotta go individually, take that beautiful thing in monstrosity and try to group sections of it together to move the whole big piece. So it's best to put it all in one big folder. You see why the folders do come in handy, just in case you make that mistake. Because when you're doing level stream world composition in a big tile world like this, it takes a lot more thinking to make sure you remember the stages and the sequences of what you're building in, rather than just a regular single level map world that some games are. You got a lot to juggle and hurdle. So just keep that in mind. Remember, always look for where your blue level is before you start. Take a woosaba moment, woosaba, and try to focus. But it's going to happen to you regardless. Don't worry about it. Don't get upset. Just be like, okay, I learned. I just pulled a snow hunter. Etc. And believe it or not, lots of people do this and they do the same thing. So just really wanted to kind of go over that with you and let you know that's kind of the thing when it comes to managing building a world this big, especially on a map this big. It's going to require you to juggle 64 tiles, and then if you start putting sub-levels in, that's even more that you have to juggle. Okay, so that's why I said when I started out here with my workflow on my world, let me go to world composition really quickly, um, really fast here, because I'm trying to keep this video short to make up for my long one on the last video. But that's why I only plugged in materials on these tiles here, so I can focus on this part and slowly build and add, because I've learned building my custom app in Stygia, sometimes you get overwhelmed, you lose your place, you lose track of where you last were working, and you need to be able to focus your brain back to where, because you might walk away from the project, say for a month or something, and you're like, what was I doing? You know, that way you have control of the workflow and go, aha, and it reminds you, okay, I was over here doing this and that, and then it clicks, okay? So, all right, guys and gals, well, I think that's it, and this video is at 23 minutes, so I need to reduce this, keep this one a short one. Thank you guys for watching. Uh, leave like, subscribes, Patreon channel, the Discord channel. Eventually, I'll be posting these to YouTube after a certain amount of time. But for those of you guys who are subscribing and supporting me and donating, I give it to you guys first hand, first up. And you guys are also getting a bonus because I'm trying to do at least 7 videos before I release the first lot of videos. So you guys are actually getting hooked up before anybody else is. So I really appreciate your guys' support. So thank you very much. And please leave any comments, what you liked about the video. Did I miss something? If I need to go back over something, please let me know, and I will actually slow down if I need to. So I'm trying to kind of keep a steady pace, but if my pace is going too fast or too slow, just let me know. That helps me teach you guys. For the most part, I try to keep a pretty steady pace. But if I lose you somewhere, pause the video, rewind, try to pick it up. If you still can't get it, contact me in the comments or contact me directly, and I will try to go over that with you, or I will recover it in a tutorial and clarify and change out a video if I have to and redo it. Then I know to cover certain things. So, but like I said, I do appreciate you guys' help. Thank you very much for your support. And everybody, stay frosty, stay sharp, and I will see you guys all next time in the next video. Bye for now.